She didn't have a title. She didn't even have a husband to speak for her. All she had was a veil, a roadside, and a God who sees what men try to hide. The world passed her by. The family that owed her everything abandoned her. The promises made to her were broken, one by one, like dry branches snapped underfoot. She was left to sit in a widow's house, forgotten, voiceless, and dismissed. But God wasn't finished with her, not even close. Her name was Tamar. And this is not just a story about a woman who was wronged. This is a story about justice, about courage, about what happens when God decides to honor the one that people tried to erase. It begins with a man named Judah, the fourth son of Jacob, one of the 12 patriarchs of Israel. Judah was not a perfect man, not by a long shot. He had already played a shameful role in selling his own brother Joseph into slavery. He had walked away from his family, settled among the Canaanites, and made a life for himself apart from the covenant people of God. But time moved on. Judah found a wife, a Canaanite woman, the daughter of Shua. Together they had 3 sons, Onan, and Shelah. 3 sons. And for a while, life seemed to settle into something resembling normalcy. Then came the day Judah chose a wife for his firstborn son, Her name was Tamar. We don't know exactly where Tamar came from. The Bible doesn't tell us her father's tribe in detail. But what we do know is this: she was brought into the family of Judah. She became Er's wife. She was bound to this family by covenant, and she had every expectation of a future, of children, of belonging. But was wicked. The Bible says it plainly. Was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord put him to death. Just like that. No long illness, no warning. Was gone. Can you imagine that? You're a young woman. You've just entered a new family. You barely know your husband. And now he's dead. Not old, not sick, just gone. Taken by God himself because of the wickedness in his heart. Tamar was now a widow, young, childless, and sitting in a grief she hadn't asked for. But there was still a system in place, a law among God's people called levirate marriage. Under this custom, if a man died without children, his brother was obligated to marry the widow and raise up offspring in the dead brother's name so the family line would continue and the widow would be protected. So Judah went to his second son, Onan, and said, "Go into your brother's wife and perform the duty of a brother-in-law to her, and raise up offspring for your brother." Now Onan knew something. He knew that any child born to Tamar would be counted as Er's child, not his. That child would carry Er's inheritance, and Onan didn't want that. He was greedy. He was selfish. He wanted the rights of a husband without the responsibility. So Onan did something despicable. He used Tamar, but deliberately refused to give her a child. And God saw it, and Onan died too. 2 sons, 2 funerals, and Tamar still sitting there, still childless, still waiting. Now Judah had 1 son left, Shelah, the youngest, and by law, by tradition, by covenant promise, Shelah was supposed to be given to Tamar as a husband when he came of age. But Judah was afraid. He looked at Tamar, and I want you to understand what was going through his mind. He blamed her. In his grief and in his fear, Judah looked at this woman who had lost 2 husbands and thought somehow she is the problem. 2 of his sons were dead. The one thing they had in common was Tamar. And so instead of seeing a grieving widow, Judah saw a threat to his last remaining son. So he told her, "Go back to your father's house and live as a widow until Shelah is old enough." He sent her away, but it was a lie. The Bible tells us plainly Judah had no intention of giving Shelah to Tamar. He said the words to send her away. He made a promise he planned to break. And Tamar went back to her father's house, waiting, still waiting. Years passed. Judah's own wife died. He mourned, the grief faded, and eventually Judah was back on his feet, traveling with his friend Hira the Adullamite to oversee his sheep shearers. And Tamar heard about it. She heard that the man who owed her justice, the man who had made her a promise and broken it, was coming right through her area, and something rose up in her. Not revenge, not rage, something sharper than that. Resolve. She took off her widow's clothes. She wrapped herself in a veil. She sat down by the road near a place called Enayim, which literally means open eyes, as if the very name of that place was a prophecy, and she waited for Judah. When Judah saw her, he didn't recognize her. He saw a veiled woman sitting by the road and assumed she was a shrine prostitute. And Judah, the patriarch, the father of a tribe, the man who should have known better, went over to her and propositioned her. He offered to send her a young goat from his flock. She asked, "What will you give me as a pledge until you send it?" He gave her his signet, his cord, and his staff, his identification, the ancient equivalent of handing over your driver's license and signing your name. They were together, and then Tamar went home, put her widow's clothes back on, and waited. Judah sent his friend with the goat, but no shrine prostitute was found. The men of the area said, "There has been no cult prostitute here." And so Judah just let it go. He didn't want the embarrassment of people knowing what he'd done. He told his friend, "Let her keep the things, otherwise we shall be laughed at."
3 months went by, and then someone came to Judah with news. "Your daughter-in-law Tamar has been immoral, and moreover she is pregnant by immorality." Judah's response? Immediate, furious, self-righteous. "Bring her out and let her be burned." Can you feel the weight of that? A woman he had abandoned, cheated out of her rights, left in a widow's house to rot, and now that she was pregnant, he wanted to execute her. Not even a trial, not even a conversation, just burn her. They brought Tamar out, and as she was being led to her death, she produced 3 items: a signet, a cord, a staff. And she said calmly, deliberately, "The man to whom these belong is the one who made me pregnant. Please examine them. Whose are these? The signet, the cord, and the staff." The entire crowd went silent. Judah looked at them. He knew them. His own name was probably engraved on that signet. His hands trembled. His whole carefully constructed image, the patriarch, the elder, the man of standing, came crashing down in a single moment. And then Judah did something remarkable, something we don't always expect from men in power when they are caught. He told the truth. He said, "She is more righteous than I, since I did not give her to my son Shelah." More righteous. Him saying it, out loud, in front of everyone. That is the moment everything changed. Tamar was not burned. She was vindicated. The woman who had been stripped of her voice spoke. The woman who had been overlooked was seen. The woman who had been left with nothing became the mother of twins.
If this story is already moving you, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button right now so you never miss a story like this one. It truly means the world. And in case you want to learn how to generate consistent characters for your videos as well, do well to grab our consistent prompt pack below, link in the description. Now let's keep going.
When it came time for Tamar to give birth, the midwife noticed one baby stretched out his hand first. She tied a scarlet thread around his wrist and declared, "This one came out first." But then that baby pulled his hand back, and his brother came out instead. The midwife said, "What a breach you have made for yourself." And so he was named Perez,
meaning breach. Then the baby with the scarlet thread on his wrist came out, and he was named Zerah, meaning brightness. 2 sons, born to a woman who almost had no sons, born to a woman the world wanted to silence. And I need you to understand the significance of what that means. Because when we open the book of Matthew, the very first chapter of the New Testament, and we read the genealogy of Jesus Christ, we don't just find kings and patriarchs, we find women. And not just any women, women with complicated, painful, extraordinary stories. And right there, in Matthew chapter 1, verse 3, is the name Tamar. Judah, the father of Perez and Zerah, by Tamar. God didn't erase her name. God didn't hide what happened. God put her name in the lineage of his own son, deliberately, permanently, for all of history to read. The woman they tried to burn is an ancestor of Jesus. Let that sink in for a moment. This is what makes Tamar's story so powerful and so deeply personal for anyone who has ever been cheated out of what was rightfully theirs, anyone who has ever been sent away with a promise that was never kept, anyone who has ever been blamed for someone else's failure and left to carry the weight of it alone. Tamar knew what it felt like to have a family look at you and decide you were a problem to be managed, not a person to be honored. She knew what it felt like to sit in a widow's house day after day, watching the years go by and wondering if anyone would ever make things right. She knew what it felt like to have the law on your side and still lose. Because power doesn't always follow the rules, and the people who are supposed to protect you don't always do it. But here is what Tamar also knew, and what her actions tell us loud and clear. She knew her worth. She did not accept that her story was over just because someone powerful decided it was. She did not stay silent when silence meant erasure. She took a risk, a massive, life-threatening risk, to claim what was rightfully hers. Now, I want to be careful here. Some people read this passage and stumble over the method Tamar used, and that's a fair conversation to have. The Bible doesn't tell us Tamar was perfect. It doesn't need to. What the Bible does tell us is the verdict. Judah himself said she was more righteous than him. God did not condemn her. God blessed her. He gave her twins. He put her name in the lineage of the Messiah. The righteous judge of the universe looked at Tamar's situation, the betrayal, the abandonment, the risk she took, the courage she showed, and he said, "I see you," and he honored her. There is something else I want you to notice about this story, something that I think is often overlooked: Judah's transformation. This man, selfish, cowardly, complicit in his brother Joseph's slavery, willing to let an innocent woman burn, this man looked at Tamar's courage and was convicted. His confession in that moment, "She is more righteous than I," is not a small thing. In the ancient world, for a man of his status to publicly admit that a woman, a daughter-in-law, had acted with more integrity than he did, that was humbling. That was breaking. And if you follow Judah's story further into Genesis, you see that this moment changed him. When the brothers eventually face crisis again involving Benjamin, it is Judah who steps forward, Judah who offers himself as a substitute, Judah who speaks with a depth of character he didn't have before.
Tamar's courage didn't just save her. It helped restore a man who needed to be confronted with his own sin. God uses the overlooked to reach the proud. He uses the forgotten to wake up the forgetful. He uses the ones sitting by the roadside to bring even the mighty to their knees. What a God!
What a story! Because in the end, Tamar didn't just survive, she prevailed. She went from a widow's house, dismissed, destitute, stripped of her future, to becoming an ancestor of King David, an ancestor of Solomon, an ancestor of Jesus Christ himself. The world said she was finished. God said she was just getting started. Maybe you're reading this in a season that feels like Tamar's widow's house. Maybe someone made you a promise and broke it. Maybe you've been blamed for someone else's failure. Maybe you've been sitting and waiting for justice, for restoration, for someone to finally look at you and say, I was wrong. I want you to hear this today. God sees exactly where you are. He has not forgotten the promises that were made to you. He has not lost track of what you are owed. And the enemy of your destiny, God has a way of making that person hand over their own signet ring, the very proof of what they've done at exactly the right moment. Your name is not forgotten, your story is not over, and the chapter God is writing for you right now might just end up being the most important one, because the God who wrote Tamar into the lineage of his own son still writes stories of justice and redemption today, and yours could be next. If this story stirred something in you today, if Tamar's courage gave you courage, please hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. We pour everything into these videos, and your support keeps these stories alive for someone who needs to hear them. Don't forget to hit the notification bell too, so you never miss the next one. God bless you, and we'll see you in the next story.